Yes, the Loki Season 2 finale and the Marvels both premiered on the same day. I actually did watch the Loki Season 2 finale before I went to go see this movie, but I'm gonna talk about this movie first. The Marvels. So The Marvels is the 33rd film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the third film in its Phase 5 part of the Multiverse Saga. It's the 10th movie overall in the Multiverse Saga, the 21st installment overall in the Multiverse Saga, and overall in the MCU, it's the 44th installment. And I guess it's technically the sequel to Captain Marvel. So in The Marvels, after the events of Avengers Endgame, WandaVision, Ms. Marvel, and Secret Invasion, although Secret Invasion is completely irrelevant, yeah, thanks for nothing, this movie follows Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, and Monica Rambeau. They find themselves in a situation where sometimes when they use their powers, they end up switching places with each other in the universe. So the three of them have to team up to solve what's happening, and also stop a new Kree villain, Dar-Benn, who's out there doing bad things. And here we go with the shortest MCU film yet, at 1 hour and 45 minutes long. Now, I've heard a spectrum of different reviews of this film. Some people love it, some people hate it. My opinions on what the MCU has released this year have kind of been ass backwards. Most people didn't like Quantumania, I liked it. Most people loved Guardians 3, I was about it. And most people hated Secret Invasion, but I ended up enjoying it. With The Marvels, it's kind of funny, because when I initially walked out of the film, I was like, I had a good time with it. I enjoyed it. But then as I kept thinking about it and talking with some friends about it who have also seen it, they brought up some good points where I was like, yeah, you do have a point. Oh, I didn't think about that. And it did kind of bring my opinion down a little bit from where it was. I usually don't try to let friends' opinions influence my own, you know? I have my own thoughts. But I gotta admit, they did have some good points. I'll elaborate a little later. Let's touch on our characters. First off, leading the movie is Brie Larson returning as Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. Sure, some people can still see her as bland, kind of a boring superhero because she's so OP. And while I will say she is the most bland of the three, I still don't absolutely just despise this iteration of the character. I like seeing her on screen. I don't know if it's because I find her action scenes really cool or if it's because I find her attractive. I mean, Brie Larson's a good actress. And in fact, she does have a couple of emotional scenes in this movie that did land with me. That being said, the best part of the movie, everyone says this and I agree with them, Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan made the movie for me. You know I love the character of Ms. Marvel. I loved her in her show. I love Iman Vellani in the role. And here, I mean, she's meeting her idol and she gets to fight alongside her. She's gonna fangirl out. And I love seeing it because she is adorable. I mean, if I'm just getting it out there, that's just what I was thinking in my head as I was watching her. I was like, this is really cute. Like, she'll get all awkward when talking to Carol Danvers, like she'll start blabbering on too long or shaking her hand for too long. It was fun to watch and you could tell that Iman Vellani had a blast making the movie. I mean, if you're still upset about her power change from the lore and that still ticks you off, that's just not gonna go away. This movie's not gonna change your mind about it. But me personally, I'm over that by now. Because again, aside from that, she is Kamala Khan. Just great casting, honestly. And rounding out the team is Teyonah Parris as Monica Rambeau, who we last saw in WandaVision. I liked her in this movie too. Her relationship with Carol Danvers, you remember because she was a kid in the first Captain Marvel movie. Where their relationship is now, I found it really interesting because there actually are teases of that in WandaVision. Like there's a scene in WandaVision where Carol Danvers' name is mentioned around Monica and she gets a look on her face, and for us eagle-eyed viewers, we were like, alright, what was that? In this movie, we get to see what that was all about, and I actually really liked it. It does play into part of the emotional center of this film, which there are a few parts of. So, the team, the three of them, the Marvels, I like them as a team. They have really good chemistry, and they were the best thing about the movie. Big shock. Some of the other characters, though, I mean, like Nick Fury is once again in this movie played by Sam Jackson again. And they do with Nick Fury in this film what they did with him in the few previous installments of the MCU he's been in. And that is, they made him kind of a comic relief character. Like, I take Nick Fury in this movie and I compare him to Nick Fury in like Phase 1 of the MCU. Nick Fury in Phase 1, even in Phase 2, actually especially in Phase 2, he was more serious, he was mysterious. He was cool. In this movie, he's cracking a lot of jokes. Like, a lot of jokes. I think more jokes in here than he ever has in the MCU. I get that Nick Fury has, I guess, evolved as a character over the past 15 and a half years, but I don't know, I guess I just prefer the old school Nick Fury who was cooler. And the villain, Dar-Benn, played by Zawe Ashton, yeah, shitty villain. Stock villain, oh my god, yeah, stale, boring. I bought her motivation, but that didn't make me care about her anymore. I guess that just goes to show that Kree don't make for good villains in MCU movies, cause she's pretty much Ronan the Accuser 2.0. In fact, she's worse than Ronan because she feels like a villain we've already seen. So yeah, I'm gonna forget all about Dar-Benn Dar-Benn. I will say though, the visual effects in this movie I thought were awesome. When it comes to visual effects, I'll be honest, I'm not hard to please. Just show me something that looks cool and I'll be like, sweet. I'll be thoroughly entertained by that. The CG looked really good and the action scenes were really cool. I mean, come on, when Captain Marvel's flying all over the place, blowing up ships, I just find that absurdly entertaining. And of course, when she and the other two Marvels are coordinating with each other, their action is going down, they're switching places, they're beating up shit. I mean, come on, that's what I wanted out of this movie, that's what I got. And I'm not talking about the logic behind it, I'm just talking about the action itself. Like, at face value, I enjoy that shit, and I'm not gonna apologize for that. When this movie comes on to Disney Plus, I will watch those action scenes again with a smile on my face. That being said, though, once I actually started using my brain and thinking about the movie afterwards, yeah, some things just undeniably fell apart. This is where my friend actually had a few good points. Cause not everything in this movie entirely makes sense. I'm gonna be vague, this is gonna be a spoiler-free review, of course. But yeah, there are some things, including the explanation of why they are switching in the first place. After thinking about it, I was like, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm quite buying that. I mean, that's the best explanation they could come up with. Yeah, and that's not the only time something like that happens in this movie. Quite a few things have actually started adding up in my head where I was like, and that's as simple as I can put it without spoiling it. And that is what brings this movie down the most in my head. There's even a scene in this scenario that, while it was fun to watch, again being vague, it was also, in my opinion, kind of cringe. It was weird. It was like this out of the blue thing I was not expecting. And again, I was like, this is something new. And I'm smiling, but I don't know if it's because I find it like fun, entertaining, or cringe. It took me some adjusting, some getting used to. I was laughing at it for sure. Is the scene involving Park Seo-joon's character, which is funny, because the friend I saw this with, she was like so anticipating seeing him in this movie. He's in like one scene, or like one chapter of the movie. He's in the movie for all of like 10 minutes, but he made me laugh. And I mean, the movie is funny. I actually thought most of the humor did land with me, aside from that which came from Nick Fury. But I mean, the situation of Carol Danvers, Kamala Khan, and Monica Rambeau switching places involuntarily at first, there is some humor to be had there. That did work for me. Like, the timing of the humor, you can tell, like, you know, with the switching places thing, the choreography, especially with the action scenes, it had to be pinpoint perfect. I do want to give all sorts of props to the choreographer of the action scenes in this movie. Or, you know, whoever did the blocking, you know what I'm trying to say. Because they pulled it off really well, I thought. Lastly, the score, composed by Laura Cartman. She did the score for What If and Miss Marvel. And there's a really cool theme that she wrote for this movie. Like this really awesome fanfare. I do miss Pinar Toprak's fanfare from Captain Marvel. I really love that theme too. But this new theme that Laura Cartman wrote for the Marvels, I also think is really cool. Although it does have the same chord progression as the Man of Steel theme, and once I heard that, I couldn't unhear it. But hey, the Man of Steel theme is badass. So I got no complaints about this movie's music here. So in the end, the Marvels, I am sadly neutral on it. I wanted to really enjoy it. I wanted to love it even. I mean, the concept of these three characters teaming up, I always loved it. From the get-go when it was announced, I was like, cool, bring it on. And at face value, this movie is at its most enjoyable. The action and the CG visual effects, all super fun to watch. But some of the writing, the humor, some of that didn't land. And after thinking about it and talking about it with my friends, I was like, yeah, that didn't make sense, did it? One thing, like a character can't do something until they suddenly can. I'm like, what? Come on. Kind of like Ned Leeds in Spider-Man No Way Home with the magic. Yeah, stuff like that. That does, unfortunately, bring this movie down in my opinion. But if you're a Marvel fan like myself, I'd say this movie is still worth checking out. But maybe not at full ticket price. So in that, for the Marvels, I will say, wait until this movie's at a discount price, then go see it. Although, this movie's mid-credits scene, holy shit. Yeah, there's a mid-credits scene, but no post-credits scene, just so you know. So, the Marvels, have you seen it yet? What are your thoughts on it? And which movie do you think is better, Captain Marvel or The Marvels? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Peace!